Hey, looks like we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you so much for being with Mind Your Biz live this Thursday morning, November 3rd, 2002. What a glorious day to be involved in cryptocurrency, Web3, and NFTs. If you hear a little echo in my voice, it's because we've got our secondary mic going so that Web3 Mimi, aka Mrs. Mind Your Biz, can join us. Good morning.
Good morning.
And so if you hear a little bit of awkwardness in our audio signal, we're still chasing down a little bit of it's called having the two mics being out of phase, right? So a little bit of a phase shift between the two signals. So bear with us while we chase down some of the audio stuff that isn't perfect, but it's just good enough. Sometimes, you just got to ship things, right? Yeah, ship it. There's a P in there somewhere. Anyway, appreciate you being here with us live, sharing the link while we're live. Every click counts. Yours probably counts for a little bit extra because you are awesome. The Mind Your Biz community and the mining community in general is some of the highest IQ crypto community anywhere. And if you want to raise your ability in the cryptocurrency, Web3, and just broader blockchain space, mining is your gateway. Mining is the way for you to learn all of the fundamentals that sometimes get skipped when others are just hoping for the number to go up. So if you want to learn a bit about mining, if you want to learn what some of the top mining picks are, if you want to learn about how some of the tech works, you're in the right place. Just got word from an ASIC firmware manufacturer, an ASIC firmware developer, that they want me to test one of their newest products. So when the bear market gets tough, the builders get going, right? The builders get building. So this is no exception. Expect to see more of that style of content here on Mind Your Biz. Thank you for smashing like while we prepare our content. We'll be on screen in just a minute. Share the link. Thank you so much for your patience, everybody. Definitely appreciate you being here. Automatic Beats, proof of live stream, proof of comments. Automatic Beats says, good morning, everyone. Latrell is here saying, good morning. Latrell, so great to see your comments. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. Andy Lee is in the chat saying, good morning. Not yet a miner. Would like to be soon. Always appreciate Mind Your Biz's take in the overall crypto space. Thank you so much, Andy. Automatic Beats also kicks off the comments this morning saying, good morning, miners. With that said, let's go. Morning, everybody. My name is Seth. You're watching Mind Your Biz. Thank you for your patience as we got our live stream content prepped. Sometimes it takes a few minutes. I'm not a big fan of doing countdown timers. I feel like it's cold and impersonal. I would much rather just talk to you while I'm working on other things. And sure, if there's a little bit of countdown music, fine. We do that in something of a countdown lobby. I hope that you're finding the production value of our live stream to be improved as we go. We like to build onward and upward. So that's kind of the intent with all of the content at Mind Your Biz. As mentioned during that sort of intro area, because, we can multitask. We can put things on our screen while we also talk to you over a microphone. But as mentioned early on, there is some additional content that is how-to in nature. There's more content that will be published pretty quickly after we finish up today's live stream that has to do with brand new projects that are launching that I'm very excited about. Non-sponsored content, I just feel that strongly about some of the content or some of the projects that are launching right now in the bear market because, as mentioned earlier, when the market gets tough, when the market gets bearish, the builders get building. And so I want to talk to those people and I want to explore those projects and I want to bring them to you because right now, this is the market. This is the phase of the market where all of the alpha is. Wouldn't you agree, Mrs. Mind Your Biz?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. That was, you know what? That was kind of a softball pitch right there. I'm like, I'm gonna give you harder questions later on. Okay. I hope you did the homework.
Of course. Always.
That's my girl right there. Okay, so let's jump straight into it. Today's Fear and Greed Index is a score of 30, and I apologize if we got a little bit of decreased brightness on our content right here. I think that is a function of just the website becoming more gray. I think they've actually made the color palette of the alternative.me Fear and Greed Index a little more gray, but our current score is 30, and it's kind of flatlining over the last week. We are in sort of a raised area of optimism, and I think that is a function of the price. I've said this numerous times. Unfortunately, this is kind of a counter indicator. When the market starts to get greedy, I think that we need to become a little bit more fearful and a little bit more cautious. We need to take steps to protect ourselves. And when the market gets more fearful, I think that's when we and full of despair, that's when we set our buy orders. That's when we DCA. That's when we get those value buys, Mrs. Mind Your Biz. You've asked about how I've been managing our portfolio, and we've talked about this at length, that we like buying distressed assets. We don't like buying and low-cost assets. We don't like buying top of the market. That's insane. That's insanity. I mean, let me ask you, Mrs. Mind Your Biz, have we ever done that in the real estate market?
No.
Have we ever tried to sell the bottom? Have we ever sold weakness in the real estate market?
Nope.
Right? Why would you do that? It's absolute, utter insanity. Certainly for the working man, the working woman, I mean, that's how you get wrecked. That's how you get destroyed. It's a game that is rigged against you if you're a sort of a typical income earner, whether that is from some of your investments or a business or it is from wages. You can't get ahead. You can't get ahead by doing that. You can't buy the top and sell the bottom, but everybody does anyway because that's the retail mindset. So, that's the playing it safe, right? Like everybody's doing it. Cool, everybody's doing it. That's why you're going to get wrecked. But that's why I view this as a counter indicator. I need to run the red screen. What is the red screen? That's the disclaimer. Mrs. Mind Your Biz, I'm curious. Is any of this legal, financial, or investing advice?
Absolutely not.
Right? If you guys thought so, then you didn't do the homework either. Oh, you know what we've got? We've got a little bit of a disconnect here. Let's reconnect all this. And in case you hadn't noticed, we are streaming in glorious 1440p. That's one of the optimizations that we've done to the Mind Your Biz show. We might be streaming in 4K relatively soon. I don't know. Not sure yet. We're also going to be doing some hardware tests of all things with the Apple M1, right? The Apple Silicon. We're going to be doing some mining tests. We're going to be doing some stream tests. We're going to be trying it out. I realize that on this show, you've heard me be a very, very anti-Apple person. And that's still true in terms of my regular day-to-day usage of technology. I've got my phone here that is a Mind Your Biz phone, privacy-oriented phone, reflashed to be totally de-Googled. And I toe that line. Mrs. Mind Your Biz, what kind of phone do you use?
A privacy one.
Yeah, it's a privacy phone.
You set it up. It's a privacy phone.
That's a lot of trust right there, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. My Mrs. Mind Your Biz it extends me, I wouldn't say more trust than you should, but you send me a lot of trust. Really.
Do.
Yeah, you do. You would literally put your life in my hands, and I appreciate that. That's the thing, right? So any man worth his salt would protect his woman. So there you go. Automatic Beat says, I'm only here for financial advice. I'm out. You know what? Who could blame you? Really, who could blame you? So on that note, let's get back to the not financial advice right here on the Fear and Greed Index. When I see it starting to move up, I mentioned before, this is where I get cautious. I will not be placing any orders in, and I'm kind of I've pulled away from my plan to deploy capital for a DCA because of that. And I think I was pretty open about that with the Mind Your Biz community. Let's talk about the markets in general. Use cryptobubbles.net as our guide. We can see over the last week that Doge is up 69%. Oh, the irony. It's like two memes in one. I mean, how appropriate for Doge. 69% in exactly 420 hours? Probably? No, not quite. No, that's almost right. No, it's not. That's not right at all. Anyway, the point is that it's up by 69%, and that's totally appropriate for Doge. Way to go, Doge. Keep on memeing your way to the top. AR is up 44%. Osmosis is up 17%. And I love seeing that because of all of the recent announcements in the Cosmos ecosystem. Now, if you haven't seen BitBoy Crypto's take on the Cosmos ecosystem, I gave a little bit of feedback on their content there. Didn't write anything for them, but I did give them some feedback on that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they produce on the Cosmos ecosystem. In case it isn't painfully obvious, over the last year, I've been they've been so gracious to the Mind Your Biz channel and to me personally by having me on their show, by having me on the Around the Blockchain show, which, as I understand it, is going to spin off into its own separate channel. But they've been so incredibly gracious towards me and towards us. That they've really won me over. When people say bad things about the team there, about Ben himself, I just have to disagree. I've had too many personal experiences with Ben, too many personal experiences with the team, Justin, J Chains, and the rest, Drew, TJ, the entire team, and then of course, right, DZ, everybody there. That you guys, if you're going to complain, if you're going to do character assassination, it's going to fall on deaf ears with me, just because they've been far too kind, far too generous IRL, right? Away from the keyboard, away from the shows, away from the cameras and the lights. They're just such incredibly gracious hosts and such incredibly generous people that I won't tolerate that kind of talk about this group. So when they ask for a little bit of feedback on some of their scripts, some of their content, I'm like, yeah, of course, I'm going to give you my unfiltered feedback. And I'm really looking forward to what they have to say about the Cosmos ecosystem. But you here at Mind Your Biz, you have already heard from me what I think about the Cosmos ecosystem over months, right? Over the last year, you've heard me saying that the Cosmos ecosystem is growing on me as well. Mrs. Mind Your Biz, this is becoming part of our portfolio. It has been over the last year, parts of the Cosmos ecosystem because of that strength of conviction. So yeah, now that I've kind of talked to Blue Streak, what do you think about that?
About Cosmo?
Yeah, about Cosmos. Well, I guess right here, the Osmosis ecosystem, this is the main decentralized exchange for the Cosmos ecosystem.
Okay.
And yeah, right there, right there. There we go. Got to get my camera angles right. There you go. So right there, Cosmos ecosystem is totally supported by this decentralized exchange. And so if we didn't have it, the Cosmos ecosystem would be a lot harder to use. There we go. Oh my gosh. You're welcome, Mind Your Biz community. Anybody watching on a phone has now had their eyes spared. But yeah, this is the main decentralized exchange, a bit like Uniswap on Ethereum, or a bit like SushiSwap or PancakeSwap for Binance Smart Chain, and QuickSwap on Polygon, which you've heard a lot about because of the work that we've done for them. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal. You need to have a decentralized exchange when it comes to one of these ecosystems or a token like Cosmos. If you don't, then you wind up not having a means to permissionlessly trade. And you'd have to wait until all of the tokens in that ecosystem get listed by an exchange like Binance or like Coinbase. And then you'd be at their mercy for all of the KYC requirements, all of the AML requirements, all the limits for what you can withdraw and transfer. Right? That's just it. We, we're longtime Ron Paulites, right? So Mrs. Mind Your Biz totally brought me into the fold there and said, hey, there's this guy called Ron Paul, and he's saying banks are kind of evil. We should probably listen to this guy. And I really appreciate that. So when cryptocurrency hit my radar years later, because you were talking to me about Ron Paul in, I think 2006 is when, you started to tell me about that, and sort of said like, hey, no, banks are pretty much definitely evil, and here's why. And you should listen to this. Well, it was after that point. Here we go. Okay, it was after that point that Satoshi Nakamoto made the white paper in 2008. We just celebrated the 14th anniversary of that white paper on October 31st. I don't know if you knew that, but it was a couple years before that. Oh my gosh, it was 16 years ago. 16 years ago that we were more than 16 years ago that we were talking about Ron Paul and why even just credit unions were a better option than banks.
Yes.
Geez. And I think at that point, we've pretty much only dealt with credit unions except for rare occasions. Is that right? Just about?
Almost exclusively, yeah.
Yeah, almost exclusively just credit unions for 16 years straight. And I definitely appreciate that. Shout out to Mrs. Mind Your Biz. Guys, if you have a wonderful lady in your life, then let's see that in the chat. Because had it not been for her attention to those details, I think I would have missed that about Ron Paul. I think, it's a foregone conclusion. I would have missed out. I think that's for sure. So appreciate that. So let's hear it in the chat. What kind of drove you towards these principles of sort of anti-bank, anti-centralized exchange, anti-centralized authority? Let me know in the chat. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But let's talk about Bitcoin. The Bitcoin chart is also one of those indicators that tells us why we have the Fear and Greed Index, in my opinion. And I think it really does correlate. We've had that move up, and people are saying, no, you don't understand. The new support line is 20K. I disagree. And we had the tops right here. This is the last time that we took a look at the mining chopsticks, the so-called mining chopsticks. We trace these three tops right here. Very, very simple technical analysis tool of drawing a line across three resistance points right there. We saw two support points right there, and then it kind of pivoted a little bit. We didn't see a trend on the support line here, and on the resistance line above, that's kind of validated that once we didn't find the resistance or the support, we broke resistance too, right? So we'll trace that all the way through, and we can see that, it traces through the support line instead, and then it popped right up. But most people are saying, well, you don't get it. Mind your biz. The market is reversed. We're going to see a melt up. Things are going to go way up. I disagree. With my limited technical analysis ability, I disagree, because we haven't hit full despair yet in the markets. And unfortunately, we need to, right? That mic needs to be way closer. Yeah, sorry. We need to. We need to hit full despair. If we don't, then the markets can't correct. They can't, nature can't heal until we have full despair first. So, that's my take on it. Tell me in the chat, what do you think about these charts? What do you think about the Bitcoin price action and movement? Do you think my methodology is sound, or do you think Mind Your Biz is just grasping for some kind of explanation where there really isn't one? You tell me in the comments. I think, personally, it's almost time to reset these chopsticks. Not quite. We don't have enough of a formation here to really solidly determine a direction. We could attempt to say, all right, well, we've got these two tops right here, but we would need to find that there is another top before we have a solid indication that there's either a reversal, right? Because we had these three tops moving downward, then that may have been a solid sign that there is a reversal. There are some technicians who claim that when you can trace those 3 points, it's probably a good indication that there's a reversal. But maybe we do see another little top. Maybe it's a head and shoulders, and then it drops down. I would definitely defer to some of the other technicians, like my good friend CBTV, Crypto Blood, or like my good friend Tom Crown. They know their stuff in a way that I don't, so I'm not going to pretend to. But when I look at the charts, that's where my mind goes, because I do anticipate that we have more downside, right? Otherwise, on this chart, I wouldn't have defined our blue line. Thank you to Miss Team Crypto for having me on the other day, and where I showed this chart again for the Mining Biz community. You already know about this chart, right? The semaphore right here, the green, yellow, and red lights, right? When you get up to a stoplight. And then the blue line, right, our value buy. I still think we're going to see prices somewhere here in the value buy range, right? It's just like the Wheaties you normally buy, but they're in a white box with a blue line on it. So don't be surprised if you see that very, very soon. I think that that's entirely possible. But I think first we have to see some kind of price action, some kind of price movement. There we go. That signals some kind of a reversal. Right now, it's an upward channel, right? We don't see like from these points right here. I mean, I could start from the support line there, I guess, and just say, all right, that's flat. So it looks like an ascending wedge. But like, again, not going to pretend to have enough technical analysis ability to say like that definitely means it's going this way or that way. But I suspect that very, very soon we are going to see another leg down. And I don't know what it's going to take to see that leg down. I do know that in 2018, at about the same time, we did see a leg down right after October 31st, right in the beginning of November and towards the end of the year. We thought that Bitcoin's price was solid in the mid 6,000s and it dropped down to the mid 3,000s. It was a phenomenal time to buy. And I do think we're going to see something of a repeat because we are in that 4-year cycle. We're back in a similar phase, right? Where we're coming off of something of the euphoria of these really high markets. We've bounced down to here. We've been saying, oh, well, this is the new support line is 20K. Sound familiar? It does to me. Right? It does to me. And everyone's saying like, well, it never drops below its previous all-time high. That's totally not true. It absolutely can, and it absolutely might this time around, especially because we're saying, well, this is the new normal price for Bitcoin. History has told us that no, when we get complacent, it can dip further, and other assets have similarly dipped further when we start to get complacent. So that's my take on it. We've got that. I think we got that locked in. I'm going to go ahead and ensure that we get that saved. So on the public chart here, that stays locked in for our Bitcoin sort of price prediction. Is it a serious thing? No, guys, it's not a serious thing. Please do not tune into this channel for your technical analysis lessons. That's not what I do. I am just trying to make a little bit more sense of the charts today than I did yesterday. And I'm hoping that tomorrow and next week, you'll see that I can make a little better sense of the charts than I did today. You're welcome. You're on this journey with me, whether you like it or not. So that's our Bitcoin chart. Cost to mine one full Bitcoin. Let's go all the way through the full process here. And this is courtesy of the Brains calculator. I'm going to go ahead and just zoom that in a little bit better so you can see that more clearly on phones, right, on mobile devices. We're going to put in for our hash rate 140 terahash at about 3.5 kilowatts. That corresponds to the top of the line Bitmain device, which whether you like it or you love it, you can't hate the fact that Bitmain has got this game locked down. We're going to put it into the 8 cent per kilowatt hour range, give ourselves a pool fee of 1%. And if we still have Andy Lee in the chat, if you're still watching, this is an important thing to factor in before you get started with any kind of mining equipment. You can absolutely purchase mining equipment. That's your prerogative, but it might be throwing good money after bad if you don't understand its performance first, right? Buying the hardware is not the most expensive thing. The most expensive thing is buying the wrong hardware and then letting it run for long periods of time because the cost to operate it just outstrips your profitability. So you wind up having too much downside, too much of a cost center, not enough of a profit center. Run it like a business, right? Like a little, even like you want to think of it like a lemonade stand or like a food truck, right? Think about where your costs are, your fixed costs, your variable costs, and then think about where your profit comes from. And in the case of mining, generally speaking, you only get profit by being able to mine more coin than you spend on electricity, right? So, and if you can foot the bill for that electricity for a longer period of time, then you probably win. But yeah, with this particular hardware profile, looks like our break-even price is 11.5 cents, and our our margin's pretty good, but our cost to produce one full Bitcoin, this is the big number right here. The cost to produce one full Bitcoin is $14,000. So if you just felt like footing the bill and saying, well, I'm just calling this my cost to acquire Bitcoin, that's it. And you view this as sort of like a subsidized dollar cost average, so to speak. You've heard me call mining subsidized dollar cost averaging for years, right? That's one way of framing this mentally, so you can just say, yeah, that's okay, that's fair. I feel okay about that. Well, the cost to acquire that Bitcoin is a little over $14,000. And I've been saying for many months, if you go back to our Bitcoin chart here, that I think that $14,000 or about 14.5 is the beginning of the extremely fair dollar cost average range, right? So all the way down to say potentially a bottom of $10,000. If we can see that, that's phenomenal. But I don't suspect we're going to see that. This is Mind Your Biz. We've talked about this quite a bit, that this is kind of like my hoping and wishing range.
Right.
I don't know if we're going to see that the markets actually go there. But when it comes to mining, you can provably, definitively, every day acquire Bitcoin at that price. It's kind of cool, right? Like that's the power. It's one of the sort of superpowers of mining is that you can acquire Bitcoin at a price that you think is fair, or you can acquire any crypto at a price that you think is fair at small intervals like your dollar cost averaging. And what you do is you pay your power bill instead. So you can kind of rinse your dirty fiat, right, over to the power utility and get fresh coins from the network. So you don't have to KYC for it. You don't have to dox yourself to any centralized institution like Binance or like Coinbase or like Gemini or any of the other major exchanges, even Kraken, which is kind of like one of the more fair players. You don't have to do any of that stuff, jump through any of those hoops, but you do have to deal with a little bit of the headache of setting up the equipment, making sure it's cooled in a way that doesn't, drive your family crazy. Anyway, point is, you got a little line here as well where you can see very clearly what some of that exchange rate is between your costs and your profits. So $14.2 thousand per Bitcoin if you're mining, and I love those numbers for sure. Over on the HiveOS Statistics Stats website, I'm going to go ahead and deny most of their cookies there. That's just best practice. Seeing right now that Ethereum Classic is topping the list. ETC hash is where, at this point, most of the GPUs are going over on Hivon, and I'm not too shocked by that. Ethereum Classic, I predicted it well before the merge over on Ethereum. It has enough market depth and volume for miners to be able to do that. And it's just like any other market, Mrs. Mind Your Biz. If you don't have enough market depth, if there's not enough liquidity, there's not enough stuff going, economic activity going on, you can't sell the coins. And for large scale miners who need to sell the coins to fund their power bills, that's the only way that you'd be able to do that. So one of the only coins that had that going on was Ethereum Classic. Raven Coin has maybe not quite to the same level, but it's got a market depth and order book that's just deep enough that people can do that as well, and just barely profitable enough. ETHW, like a bad penny, just keeps turning up. Even though its price keeps dropping, there's still some money to be made because of those centralized exchanges. There's, as I understand it, still no decentralized way to get rid of those coins. Just crazy to me. Like, I don't know why you would do it, but there's no decentralized way to get rid of those coins. Ergo, Kaspa, Flux, Raptorium, good to see them on the list at all. And then Bitcoin. It's crazy, but yeah, then Bitcoin. People actually mining on their new Bitcoin ASIC network or ASIC mining pool. And then NiceHash, Monero, Litecoin. We're back to the fundamental projects. I mean, kind of like barring ETHW, I guess we'll just call it a fork of a fundamental project, but people are running back to strength, right?
Right.
Yeah, they have to sell to strength. They can't sell into weakness where there are these speculative coins that may or may not perform. You just can't afford to do that in markets like this. So pretty straightforward stuff, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But it's important to cover. If it's not, it doesn't seem straightforward now. It's important to cover that during these sort of like lean economic times, people are going to just run to strength. It's kind of that simple. Automatic Pete says Litecoin. Boo. Well, I was in Las Vegas for Litecoin Summit. I couldn't have gotten away with saying that if I was there. I ran into Charlie Lee in person and took a selfie with him because, Charlie Lee's he's adorable. He's like a little Monchichi doll, right? Like, yeah. Anyway, just saying, right? And I did an interview with Bobby Lee as well. You see it on the channel, guys. Charlie and Bobby Lee, you can, again, you can like them or love them, but you just can't hate these people. They're characters in the cryptocurrency drama, right? Like, up till today. 14 years ago, these guys were pretty close to understanding what Bitcoin was. They got involved, and I mean, it was 2011 that Litecoin came out. It's been in operation, basically flawless operation for over 10 years. It's had fewer exploits than Bitcoin has. So on some level, I hear what you're saying. Litecoin, boo, whatever. But also, I mean, it's got strong fundamentals. It's the sort of the coin that we love to hate, but it was the original Dogecoin, right? That's what Dogecoin is forked from. So whatever. I mean, I hear you, but also, I'm kind of indifferent towards Litecoin. I hate to be so indifferent, but those are just the facts. Over on miningpoolstats.stream, we can see kind of at a glance, right, how the difficulty has changed, network hash rate. It doesn't give us an up or down indicator on the network hash rate or the pool hash rate or anything else, but we can see how the volume is moving, and that's one of the best possible ways for us to get a solid indicator of what's really popping. And when we use that as our sorting filter, as our sorting criteria, we can see a little bit more what's got the strong fundamentals. Like you're saying, Litecoin, boo, kind of, sort of, except that, it's right there next to Bitcoin Cash and Dogecoin, sandwiched in between, with billions of dollars of economic activity over the last 24 hours. That's, it's nothing to sneeze at. When you're mining Dogecoin also, it's important to know that the hardware that mines Dogecoin can mine Litecoin at the same time. Did you know that, Mrs. Mindabiz?
I did not.
Well, the more you know, right? So today, now you know, if we have a Dogecoin miner, we get basically free Litecoin just because we're mining Dogecoin. Kind of cool, right? So consider that in that number right there, in that figure of economic activity, right? Volume every 24 hours, that when we see over $4 billion of Dogecoin, it's not too big a shock that we're seeing over $2 billion in Litecoin too.
Okay,
Right,
so the Litecoin pump is from the Dogecoin pump. Sorry, I'm so quiet during this phase of the broadcast because I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about.
It could be, but here's the thing. It looks like as measured by miningpoolstats.stream, it looks like they're measuring the last 7-day change is 71% for Dogecoin, even higher than what Crypto Bubble showed.
Well, and that's because of the Twitter
Probably.
Musk, right?
Probably, yeah. And
that's what I read in the news. Like, that Dogecoin totally pumped because Musk bought Twitter. I guess.
I think on that note, why don't we stop talking about the numbers? Why don't we talk about the news? Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so let's jump right into the news because I think we're getting kind of boring here. But let's start with Matic. You mind reading this off for us?
Matic price eyes 200% gains on Polygon adoption by Instagram. JP Morgan.
There it is. Guys, where did you hear it? Which mining channel did you hear it at first? It's okay, I'll wait. Yeah. Matic has had the strong fundamentals. It took the market by storm. Everybody who was saying like, no, there are better layer twos. You don't understand. There are roll-up solutions. There's all this other stuff that's going to help scale Ethereum. And I said, guys, you don't seem to understand. Polygon has got some things. And at the time when it started, Matic has got some things going on for it as a sidechain scaling solution that just work right now. And I know we started the stream off by talking about our inherent mistrust for centralized organizations and custodial solutions and stuff.
And here we are.
Yeah, here we are with JP Morgan jumping on board. And I know that's like the worst of the worst. And then Instagram too, right? Talk about again the worst of the worst. And then Disney, right? So being part of the Disney Accelerator program, these are some of the most centralized and abusive companies in the world. However, Polygon has had the strong fundamentals to help scale Ethereum, and then as a sidechain scaling solution to Ethereum, use Ethereum to timestamp and to there's a word for it, there's a phrase for it, and it's escaping me right now. But all of the activity on Polygon is basically copied back over to Ethereum, roughly every hour or so. So all the activity from Polygon if you're an Ethereum maximalist, if you're into the EVM, then you can't really say that you love Ethereum while hating Polygon. You can't really say that you love Polygon while hating Ethereum. It was designed to scale Ethereum. And so some of these groups, they see, oh wow, Polygon actually scales better. It has more transactional throughput every second. More transactions can go through than Ethereum. And it will record those transactions back to Ethereum sort of in bulk every hour. So it's got that time stamping solution built in. It just does some things that Ethereum and other networks can't do. And then, yes, there are some protections that allow them to stave off abuse on that chain. So this is not me saying that like I'm some Polygon maximalist, but it has performed well. And those of us who were mining last year when the mining pools started to pay out on Polygon, just told you, wow, zero fees. Of course, we're gonna use this solution, and we might bridge back to Ethereum if you want. But I mean, my experience of Ethereum has mostly been on Polygon over the last year. So there you go. Y'all heard it here first. There we go. I'll just say it outright. You heard it here first. I know you heard it here first because I talked to all of the other GPU mining channels, and they were like, I don't know, maybe I'll take payouts on it. And so it's kind of like, all right, well, I'm gonna do as you do, not do as you say. Like, you can talk all you want about how you think it's not optimal, but if what you're doing is taking profits on Polygon, then your money is not where your mouth is. So let's go to where your money is. But yeah, high profile partnerships, Meta, Disney, JP Morgan. And apparently JP Morgan conducted its first live trade worth about $71,000 on a public blockchain, marking a concrete step towards integrating cryptocurrencies into traditional financial frameworks. And here's the other thing. It's important to just acknowledge that this is not the same as JP Morgan saying, you know what, we're always going to do transactions on Polygon. But again, putting your money where your mouth is, actions speak louder than words. I'm mixing metaphors, but the point is they did it. They did it. They didn't just say they were going to use Polygon. They actually did it. So it's something to be aware of. And then, of course, Polygon's price has been kind of consistently moving up. I do think there's a correlation to the Bitcoin markets. I think that it is one of those assets, a lot like Ethereum. It's more correlated to Bitcoin than people like to admit. So there you go. I don't think there's any ambiguity or any mistake about how correlated this asset is to Bitcoin. When Bitcoin sneezes, everything else catches cold. I've said that. It's very quippy, but it fits. And that's the news with Polygon. Let me change this into dark mode before I expose the audience to it. But there you go. So another bit of news that kind of helps inform that is that Polygon, their token, bucks the Fed-fueled downturn after the Instagram announcement. And yeah, the announcement yesterday of the Fed raising 75 basis points on the interest rates. Bitcoin dumped about 2.8%. I mean, I'm not seeing that. Honestly, I'm not seeing a 2.8% drop down. Oh, no, there it is. Totally is. Is it 2.8% though? Is that really what it is? Yeah, I don't know that I actually measured 2.8%, but point is, it did do a little drop. I mean, on this daily chart, there's definitely, right, some candles, red candles down, but it looks like it's already kind of bouncing back up. It's probably just going to, bounce down and show us what our next top is, and, then head and shoulders, or we'll get three tops here and see our reversal. It's going to kind of struggle after that announcement. But yeah, we did see, oh gosh, no. We did see a bit of a downturn after that announcement. And yeah, Bitcoin dropping down did not affect Polygon. Why? Very likely because of the Instagram announcement, very likely because of the ongoing excitement regarding the Disney announcement. And then now with JP Morgan, again, not making an announcement, but actually using the network, right? Like, oh, well, not going to announce anything. We're just going to use this network. That's pretty strong. Pretty strong news media, pretty strong FOMO material. The Deadwood is in the chat. Guys, proof of live stream comments. Deadwood says, good morning, fam. Just leaving the park with the dogs. 2 rots, no leads needed. Wow. Love my well-mannered girls. Hope y'all are well. See you after the drive home. Awesome. Thank you, Deadwood. Appreciate that. Tell those girls that our little Maltese poodle mix says he wants to fight because he's an idiot.
Always.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with him. Really, he's a lapdog that thinks he's, I don't know, something else.
I'll fight. No flight.
Some shepherd mix. I don't know. He's a weirdo. Gandalf Gray's in the chat also saying, mind your biz. Definitely have to thank the crypto wives out there for allowing us to do what some might deem crazy while keeping us from going too deep into the rabbit hole. Smash those likes, peeps. Definitely appreciate that, guys. And that is financial advice. Hit the like button. Why? Because it's the economy of karma. That's why it's financial advice. There you go. The economy of karma. If you want people to like your media, you should like their media. It's just, makes sense. What goes around comes around. Definitely do appreciate that. I see that you've definitely shared the link. Either that or we've been embedded on somebody's website. This does happen. It happened to a notable figure in the GPU crypto mining space who started to get his media embedded by the likes of CoinGecko. I'm going to let you guess who that was. If you don't know who it is, I'm just going to say things on YouTube are not what they seem, and if you've heard me talk about it before, I am playing a metagame with the new home for Mind Your Biz, and nothing on this platform is ever what it seems. We know that for sure, right? So we're doing our best to play the game and the metagame. Shout out to Tom Crown Crypto, who yesterday when he live streamed the FOMC meeting, I don't know if he crossed over 3,000 live viewers, but he definitely crossed over 2,500 live viewers. So amazing air horns. Sorry, I don't have the soundboard going. Air horns, claps, applause. Right. Like Tom Crown, he did it. He killed it. So, yeah, it's all part of the game. Crypto McKell says, facts, Gandalf Gray. And yeah, shout out to Mrs. Crypto McKell. Yeah, she seriously power couple over there because they're doing it with young children. So I don't know how y'all get. I guess you just don't sleep. That's got to be it. You just don't sleep at all. There you go. That's
overrated.
That's the secret, right? Never sleep again, and you'll be fine. But here we go. Japan, its digital ministry is going to launch a DAO to understand how they work. What an incredibly honest and Japanese thing to do, right? To be like, you know what? We don't know how these things work, so we want to find out. So we're going to use them. We're not going to try to regulate the life out of them. We're going to try actually using it. What an incredibly Japanese thing to do, right? To experiment first and try to get data first before making regulation. Imagine that. Wow. Strange.
Sounds sensible.
I know, right? I don't know, Mrs. Manderbish. Should we move to Japan?
No.
Why not?
Reasons.
Well, let's talk about those reasons.
We can visit, though.
Okay, we'll visit Japan. Maybe we'll visit Roger Ver while we're out there, because that's where he hangs out.
I just don't want to get political, but Japan is a beautiful country that I've never been to, and I would love to visit before I decide to move somewhere.
All right, there you go. There you go. Mrs. Mind Your Biz says we're probably not gonna expatriate ever, right, to any country. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I think the fight's here.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Lift where you stand, I guess. So, yeah, no Japan, but they are doing some good things. I think that this is the kind of behavior that I want to see more of from any kind of federal government, from any kind of sovereign state. I want to see them do more exploration and trying to understand first, seeking to understand first before they try to tell others, this is our new policy. Crypto Mikhail says, sleep when he's dead, LOL. You know what? Sounds like a plan. Let's do it. Let's go. And here's the brief comments here. Apparently, their digital agency is creating its own DAO to better understand how they work. The project is being undertaken by the Web3 Study Group, an initiative within the digital agency. And after some experience with the DAO, the study group intends to share its use cases and offer a template for others. That's awesome. I love that. That's a very, very strange graphic for this one. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot to unpack psychologically, especially when you talk about it being a Japanese thing. I don't think that a Japanese person made this graphic. Pearl necklace, golden shower, on the umbrella. This poor Japanese woman, like, please save me. It's very strange. Very strange. All of it is very strange. The metaphors just don't stop there, and they're all weird and mixed. Point is, the newly established Digital Agency of Japan will have its Web3 division doing this thing. What do you think they're going to find? Tell me in the chat. Mind your biz. What do you think they're going to find when they experiment?
Well, I don't know. I guess it depends on how they respond to, the lack of control. Is that going to be an issue for them?
I don't know.
Will it be too scary?
I think they think it's going to be scary. This looks like a scary image.
Yes, that's scary.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, I don't know. Lack of control? Or do you think they're going to do you think they're going to find ways where there's overlap between the control mechanisms of blockchain and the voting mechanisms of DAOs and what their needs are? Right? I think they're going to find some use cases, and I don't know. Maybe I'm a little too optimistic, but I think they're going to come back with a bit of honesty about like, okay, well, it could be used this way or that way, but it's not really good for, uses XYZ. I think we're going to find something like that. I'm hoping that's what we can anticipate from the Japanese government and this new.
I guess maybe I'm a skeptic. I'm just generally anticipating that any government is just going to be skeptical of anything decentralized.
All right, there you go.
Because they can't control things that are decentralized, and they don't like that. That's my take on any government participating in Web3 decentralized currency.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah, I can see that it might be that way. I guess, hope springs eternal in this particular YouTuber's mind. The Deadwood says that the private sector operates better without overburdened regulations. That's what I think the Deadwood is anticipating they will discover. I'm trying to set up a little more tall and make sure that my mic, I need a counterweight actually on this particular boom arm. It keeps on like drooping. So maybe I'll just kind of hang on to this for a little bit. Yeah. Sorry, audience. That's just how it goes sometimes. So, yeah, the Deadwood says the private sector operates better without overburdened regulations. Yeah, I think you're totally right, and that should be their takeaway, hopefully, but we'll see. We'll see what they come back with. I'm hopeful that they at least have some honesty about what those use cases are. Maybe they don't, though. However, I think that normally the Japanese government they're not perfect, but there are some things when it comes to cryptocurrency regulation and other kinds of financial regulation where, at least for a time, Japan looked like it was going to become a world leader in blockchain. So maybe this is part of that reason, is because they actually do test first and make regulation later.
And maybe this speaks a lot to my own ignorance. Maybe they're more open to being the place that, freedom lovers flock to with their money. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, but I think they've got competition. Mrs. Mind Your Biz, can you read this off for us?
Singapore still aims to be a crypto hub minus speculative trading.
Oh, well, then how can it be a cryptocurrency hub, a crypto hub, if there's no speculative trading? That is like the best part of crypto. Well, here are the fast facts. You mind reading this off for us?
Okay, fast facts. The most common question asked, according to Menon, is if Singapore wants to be a crypto asset hub. Did I say that right?
I think so.
Menon. Yes, we want to be a crypto hub, the central banker said, but if it is about trading and speculating in cryptocurrencies, that is not the kind of crypto hub we want to be. According to Menon, the real value in the crypto industry comes from tokenizing assets and placing them on a distributed ledger for use cases that increase economic efficiency.
Wait a second, then what kind of assets? The only assets worth trading are speculative.
No, I'm sure that, we should all love CBDCs.
Yeah,
right?
CBDCs
is that the idea?
And tokenized real estate that is government controlled.
Yes.
How else are they going to do like price fixing for all these other markets and asset classes?
Trading in our paper fiat dollars for digital fiat dollars. Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Okay, moving on. Singapore aims to create a future where any asset can be fractionalized while drastically reducing trading costs, Menon said. Menon's comments at the conference came after officials in Hong Kong, Singapore's financial rival in Asia, announced this week at their own annual gathering, the Hong Kong FinTech Week, a series of policies to re-attract digital asset investment.
That begs some questions. Why don't we go ahead and let's pull that open as well. So, yeah, this FinTech Week in Hong Kong. Apparently, they want to win back their role as the digital asset hub.
What happened? How did they lose their role as the digital asset hub?
I think there's just kind of a general consensus that within Asia, every Asian country, every Asian major sovereign nation, and every region within Asia is always trying to fight for some kind of like leadership role, right?
Okay.
The pole position in some kind of a race, in some kind of asset class or some kind of industry.
Okay, so there wasn't some kind of event or policy that was implemented that caused people to maybe run from Hong Kong?
I
don't know. I'm just asking.
That's a valid question. Chat, tell us.
Wait, where cryptocurrency trading was banned in September last year.
Hey, there you go. Crypto trading was banned in Hong Kong. That would definitely put a damper on whether or not you would do business there, for sure.
See, it's just the overarching theme I keep seeing is like, oh, how can we control the new digital money? And then the response is, you can't. Oh, but.
Yeah, it seems to be a little bit of an issue there. But in particular, I would say that in Hong Kong, even though it's one of the more free areas of China, Hong Kong, not known for like total freedom. It really isn't. It's known for being relatively free compared to mainland China.
Yeah, but not since, things changed there politically.
Right. Yeah, since the our friend Wendy likes to call it the panorama, right? So yeah, so there's a little bit of an issue over there. I don't know, if they're ever going to win back that role. Singapore, based on what they're saying, also trying to lock down the types of trading that's going to happen. Like, that's decidedly anti-crypto. So how are you going to become a crypto hub if you're trying to tell people exactly which assets they should or shouldn't tokenize and which assets they should or shouldn't fractionalize? Yeah. Crazy, right? Like, okay, you can, I just don't see it succeeding in either case. And I know that there is a Blockchain Vietnam Week. I was invited to go to Blockchain Vietnam Week. Crypto Michaela is asking, when, where, next event? I appreciate that you ask. And there was a push for me to go be back in Southeast Asia at the end of this month. Mrs. Mind Your Biz, that's just too big a turnaround. And based on the stomach bug that I got out in Bali, I can't do that. I can't travel internationally that fast after getting back. Like
you might die.
Possibly, literally.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, no, I can't risk that. So you can't see it, but I'm down some weight, and yeah, like it really did a number on me. So yeah, I don't see myself going to the Vietnam Blockchain Week, though. I'm flattered that I was invited. I think what is up next for me and for Mrs. Mind Your Biz is Miami Art Week. So the week of art, Basel. So end of this month. Week of, say, November 28th at Decentral. I am speaking, I think, both days in Decentral, the 28th and 29th. I'm also going to have a special panel with a VIP celebrity who is, I'm really excited about this. Really, really excited because it's officially announced. And if you look over on the Decentral website, first off, there should be a code in the description of this video where if you sign up using my link, then there will be an affiliate fee that doesn't go to me. It goes to Habitat for Humanity. That is the charity that we've chosen to give all of those fees away to. So if you're wanting to go to that trade show, it's in Miami, the 28th and 29th, down in Brickell Village, right there along South Beach, at the very south point of South Beach. Gorgeous area. And then following that, there is the Women in Web3 conference, or the Web3 Expo. And following that, there's the rest of the Art Week in Miami, Art Basel. Gorgeous time of year in Miami. If you want to get away from some of the changing of the seasons for just a little while, get a little break from the snow, get a little break from all the fall colors, which I don't know why you want to break from it, but the cold anyway, then you can come visit with us in Miami between November 28th and December. I'm moving backwards, right?
That's a long
you can jump back in time from November to October. It's amazing. But yeah, November 28th through December 3rd. So all of that week, we will be in Miami at various events. You'll see us there, both me and Mrs. Mind Your Biz. And we'll be doing interviews. We'll be producing media. We'll be doing all kinds of stuff there at the trade shows. But I'll be on stage at the Decentral Conference both days. I think I may be on the main stage one day. I think I'm going to be on their NFT, on the alpha stage one day, and then also on the decentralized stage. So all three stages of Decentral, I will be speaking. And if you're there, I would love to love to meet up, love to chat. And of course, we've got phenomenal events right there at the venue, as well as, it's Miami. Gorgeous places for nightlife, for a little dinner, and we'll be able to hang and spend some time together. So great time out in Miami that week. Do let me know if you're going to be in the area, because I would love to hang out with you. I'd love to spend some IRL time with the Mind Your Biz community. So just let me know. But yeah, Crypto Mikkel, you need to hit me up offline about that. We need to talk. Serpent X Tech is confirmed to be in Miami as well. I'm so pleased that that Serpent X Tech has been able to carve out this time, and I think Mrs. Serpent X Tech will also be there, and so Mrs. Mind Your Biz and I think we're going to be able to hang out a couple of days as well. So I can't wait. Right, good people, guys, good times with good people in one of the best industries to ever be created. So yeah, really, if you can, spend some time with us in Miami and use that link. But Serpent X Tech, it's not announced exactly what role he will be playing, but he will also be on stage at Decentral. You know him, you love him, right? If you've been watching the Mind Your Biz channel for some time, then you very likely are also watching Serpent X Tech. So yeah, you'll get to see us both do our thing in Miami. I'm really excited about that. So anyway, Bitcoinist has some additional news. Ms. Mind Your Biz, what do we got here?
MakerDAO co-founder found dead days after eerie tweets.
Oh my gosh, well, what did he write?
All right, so this is before I thought it was Illuminati, CIA people doing sophisticated moves to set me up somehow because I was a threat to central banking cartel. Now I realize these are probably the cheapest PIs money can buy, sent by local banking duopoly. Even round one shills in that chat were smarter.
Wow. Okay, so it looks like we've got a little bit of intrigue going on here, and dead men tell no tales. So we don't know what this fella thinks now. But what do you think, Mrs. Mind Your Biz?
Oh, well, you know me. I'm kind of a conspiracy theorist, so something bad.
Oh yeah, we have great late night chats. It's awesome.
We do.
But yeah, apparently he predicted his own death in these tweets, right? So
there should be more, I think.
Yeah, right. So first off, the name of the 29-year-old co-founder of MakerDAO. I mean, and this makes me incredibly sad, right? I've been talking about on the Mind Your Biz channel for some time that one of the few stable coins that I trust is the MakerDAO DAI token, right? Not USDC. I've got a serious bone to pick with Circle. People say, oh, it's reliable, and and they're audited, and they can prove that they have the funds. I don't think that's good enough in today's world. I think what that leads to is cooperation with the regulators, cooperation with the centralizers, cooperation with those who would try to have a central plan for our lives in the future, right? These are the people who want to control our lives, and they always have. And for you to say like, oh, well, but that's the stable coin that I trust. Okay, well, I guess go back to your account at JP Morgan Chase, right? Like, why are you in crypto? I don't understand that.
Right.
And DAI, their token, it's one of the few that I actually felt really good about in terms of its decentralization model. But yeah, so Nikolai Arkady Mushgin, that's his name, and I think it's worth saying. I think it's worth remembering because this is somebody who possibly died for his principles. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, there was more. What else did he write?
Well, that's kind of cryptic. Sunday night, conditions met, surprise discovery, new opportunity. Now all in on timeline shifting insanity indexed. Quantum immortality, but for human civilization. A bet that there is no future where negative sum banker global slave agenda doesn't end in extinction. Wish me luck.
Yeah, make sure. Okay.
Okay, so I don't know. A lot of that to me is like, huh? But then after that, 3 possible futures for me. Number 1, suicided by CIA. Number 2, CIA brain damaged slave asset. Number 3, worst nightmare of people who effed with me up until now. I am sure these are the only options.
Well, there you go. Possibly, yeah. That's a little less cryptic, right? And then last tweet that I think he made before he disappeared, before it was the end.
Yeah, CIA and Mossad and pedo elite are running some kind of sex trafficking, entrapment, blackmail ring out of Puerto Rico and Caribbean islands. They are going to frame me with a laptop planted by my ex-girlfriend who was a spy. They will torture me to death.
Yeah, so apparently they say naturally his tweets flew under the radar, but they would begin garnering attention after his body was found on Friday. Now, there are multiple theories in the space on what could have actually happened to the founder, and if this was really a conspiracy to silence him, or if Nikolai was just paranoid, essentially, troubled. Yeah, it's hard to say, but he did live in San Juan. He was in Puerto Rico. There is a lot of crazy stuff happening in Puerto Rico. Some of the crypto expats who've gone there, what I've heard, Mrs. Mind Your Biz, in the private chats that I've had with them, or the private groups where they've talked about their experiences, they didn't love it. They it seemed like the tax incentives were a strong reason to go, but they did their half year there. They did their 181 days, I guess, out of the year there. And then they were like, this is not all it's cracked up to be. Rolling blackouts, infrastructure problems, the awkwardness of being somebody who's part of the haves around a group of the have-nots. Not a good feeling when the market starts to turn bearish.
Right.
Yeah, so we've talked about some of those issues that we have. I think expatriating, not on the roadmap for the Mind Your Biz family. So, yeah, without talking about it too much, stories like this, whether they have any merit or any truth at all, the fact that this fellow felt so incredibly concerned for his well-being and then, died mysteriously, not a good look for these areas. Not at all. So, yeah, we'll be avoiding Puerto Rico now like the plague. But Crypto Potato has some additional news on it, and or it has some additional coverage. And I realize this is a couple of days old, but what we need to kind of acknowledge here is that if you didn't know about this, you need to know about it, learn this person's name, get to know a little more about what they actually contributed to the world. 29 is just too young to go. And to have that level of anxiety about there being third parties observing and interfering with your life, and then to have it ended like that, not good. Yeah, totally not good. But there was a local news outlet in San Juan called El Nuevo Dia that said that he'd been swept away by sea currents at Conando Beach in San Juan. So, I mean, there you go. People do die at that beach, and it's entirely possible that it was totally an accident. But you figure, if you were trying to make it look like an accident, that's where you would put a body. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you?
Yes.
Just let the current sweep that body all the way out, and then let it be found. So I'm not going to indulge any further, but I think we should pay our respects to this person. Yeah, and the contributions that he gave. So, yeah, it's sad. Let's take a look at some of the markets real fast. Take a look at txstreet.com, see what our current prices are, see what the current transfer fees are. Seeing those likes pour in. Thank you so much, Mind Your Biz community. Definitely appreciate that. It looks like, wow, and the view count popping right up. Appreciate your support. Let's take a look at txstreet.com to see what the current transfer fees are. And Mrs. Mind Your Biz, I love this tool. You've seen this, yes?
No.
Okay.
But are these South Park characters?
These are little South Park characters.
I love it.
I know, right? And what they represent is, I'm going to click on one, if I can. That guy right there represents a transaction on the Ethereum network. And the little buses represent a block in the blockchain. So all the transactions get swept into a block, and then they get written into the blockchain. And as they do so, this is a real-time visual interpretation of that data, gets written away, and it leaves the station. These are other blocks right now that are kind of queuing up based on the amount, the fees for those transactions. If you were to set in MetaMask, just say, I don't want to spend 35 Gwei, right? The smallest unit of an Ethereum, an Ether. Mm-hmm. In the same way that a Satoshi is the smallest unit of a Bitcoin, a Gwei is the smallest unit of an Ether. And that's the fee, is 38 Gwei. Some people call it Gwei. Tomato. But if you said, I don't want to spend 35, you could say, define in your MetaMask wallet or whatever your Ethereum wallet is, okay, maybe I'm willing to spend 15. Well, here's some people who are only willing to spend 15. We'll see if the fees allow them to do that. See that? How they have to get out and go to a different block. They have to wait for a later block. And if the fees get bid all the way up based on the marketplace to 35 Gwei, they're going to have to keep on waiting for future blocks until the fees generally go down to the amount that they desire. Right now, it looks like the average is 35 Gwei. Higher. See that? I don't know who that guy is. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know who that guy was, or the other one. I think that probably comes from some of these other services. There's the other cool thing about this visual representation. This is USDC. That's Circle. That's Tether. That's OpenSea, the NFT marketplace. Mm-hmm. There's Uniswap right there. There's 1inch DEX, MakerDAO. There is Shiba Inu. There's MetaMask. There's 0x. There is Aave, right? The protocol Aave. There's Chainlink right there. There's SushiSwap. There is Rarible, the NFT marketplace. All of these services that people come to know. There's Curve. There's Gnosis Protocol and Axie Infinity, a popular video game. These are all like very typical places where transactions could come from. And it's all visually represented here. Oh, yeah, and there's CryptoKitties and Kyber. All these very popular networks that and popular services that people might use on Ethereum. And look at all this low fee line. People that aren't even willing to spend, this amount. They're willing to spend like 1 gwei or 2 gwei on a transaction. Over 75,000 of those transactions still just kind of hanging out stuck. That's one of the problems with these marketplaces, with these networks, is that if you don't have enough funding to pay the network fee, your transaction is stuck.
Which sucks.
Yes, it does, right? Imagine being, just waiting for a $5 payout from somebody. But, at certain times, these fees have totaled more than $5, right? They've totaled more than 50 or 100 at certain times, right? So
to me, I mean, again, I'm the noob on the channel, right? But this tells you why, you can't achieve mass adoption.
That it's not the future of money. If the future of money means spending $100 to send $5.
Right.
Yeah, like what person would do that to themselves? Doesn't make sense. So anyway, this is txstreet.com. One of the things that I like to do, this is for the benefit of Mrs. Mind Your Biz and anybody else who hasn't used this tool before. Shout out to Serpent X Tech and Crypto Mikkel, who I think have integrated this into their shows as well, because it's a great tool, right? This is the nice thing about public services like this. We're going to move that out of the way, but the median transfer fee and the median gas price and then the median contract fee. We're going to put that up here. See that rotating. So yeah, current equivalent is $1.62 just to transfer Ether, right? The core asset Ether. The median contract fee is going to pop up in a second, $7.66. So if you were sending something like Tether or USDC or DAI, any amount that you send, whether it's 50 cents to $50,000, is going to cost you over $7 in transfer fees. So that's the reality of using Ethereum. It's one of the reasons that I've become so bullish on the Cosmos network is the fees are not only lower, but they allow you to transfer from chain to chain at the same price. So there's a lot that it has going on. It's more complex, but a little lower cost and faster transaction time. There's a lot about it to like, I think. But yeah, that's txstreet.com in a nutshell. On the other side, we can compare that to Bitcoin. Or if we want, we can use some of the other streets that they have available, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Monero, or Arbitrum Nitro. And Arbitrum Nitro is a scaling solution for Ethereum. So other blockchains that we can observe. For right now, let's leave it at Bitcoin, and you can just kind of see it takes 10 full minutes for each one of these buses to fill up on Bitcoin. You see these are leaving the station every 13 seconds or so.
Right.
Yeah, so it takes about 10 minutes to fill up the block on Bitcoin, or the metaphorical bus. Lots of transactions lining up right now. There's sometimes a low fee line. There we go. It's showing that because of the low fees, 14 satoshis per VByte is what they're willing to pay. 1 satoshi per VByte is all they're willing to pay, right? So they're having to go to the next block and queue up and hopefully get included there. The median transaction fee on Bitcoin right now is 71 cents. Not awesome, but not bad, right? By comparison, not the worst. And we can take a look at not latest block and not pending transactions, but we can look at the median fee in satoshis per VByte. To kind of see what the median fee is. 14 satoshis right now is what most people are paying for this block. But let's see. Yeah, 17 actually is the average for the network right now over the last several blocks. So it's anticipated that in the next few blocks, the next few buses, to ride those buses and to get your transaction included, like this person, that's telling us more about their transaction. And it links out to a block explorer so we can see exactly whose wallet it came from and whose wallet it's going to. These are public blockchains, right? This is public info. But telling us more about that, in order to get that included, they would have to be willing to pay upwards of 17 0.12 satoshis per VByte. Kind of cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love using this tool. It's very, very simple, easy way to get a visual explanation of everything. And if you wanted to trace all these transactions out to the Block Explorer, you can. So this one's, there you go, pending. Tells you more about what they were willing to pay for that and which wallets they were coming from and going to. And we can take a look at that over on etherscan.io for more information there. So love this tool. What do you think, Mrs. Mighty Biz?
Well, I'm a visual learner, so I think this is beautiful.
I think most people are when they find a good visual tool. Most people become visual learners when it's like, oh, this diagram is so simple, or this tool just spells it out.
Yeah.
So awesome. I'm glad that resonates with you. Let's take a look. Speaking of visual tools, at DeFi Llama. This is not going to give us quite the same visual workflow. So Crypto Mikel says FA tool for sure. And over on the DCA Adventure family, FA stands for effing awesome. So not fundamental analysis. Don't get it twisted. All right. But also, a little reminder, let's make sure this is the correct size. If you have not subscribed, do be sure that you are subscribed here on Mind Your Biz. Got so much going on. This is the juiciest time of the market to talk about these topics, right? So get yourself educated. Educate yourself. Come back to Mind Your Biz every day for new content. But total value locked on all chains. This is something that you have heard me talk about for quite some time. I think this is extremely important for people who are primarily focused on mining to understand more about the overall markets. And the total value locked just means that there are, so many tokens, so many NFTs, so many other DeFi instruments on one chain. And right now, Mrs. Mind Your Biz, what do you see? What's got the lion's share?
Ooh, Ethereum.
By a long shot, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 57%. And if we kind of check out all of these other metrics, if there's a double count, see? So include the total value locked of protocols, which TVL feeds into another protocol, 65%. If we count liquid staking, so rewards and liquidity for staked assets, we'll click that box. Not a whole lot. Vesting, right? People who are waiting for coins to mature, also not a lot. Borrows, so borrowed coins in lending protocols. We could count that if we wanted to. Though apparently that actually pulls it back. And then pool 2, so staked liquidity provider tokens, where one of the coins in the pair is a governance token. Not much difference. And then staking, right? So if we just go ahead and include all those other metrics, it kind of corrects that to the full picture, helps us zoom out even more to figure out how many different ways we can measure the value that's locked on these networks. And this is just one of those data points where if you wanted to evaluate comparables, right, in this ecosystem, you'd have to know, like, how much value is locked on these networks. How much are people really using it, in dollars and cents? And this really boils that down to the bottom line question. How much do people really want to risk on these networks? And Ethereum just wins all day. So seeing that 64% figure, the nearest competitor is at 10% market share, right? And that's Binance Smart Chain. Then the next nearest competitor is 6.4%, and it just kind of goes down to single-digit percentage points after that point, right? It's kind of pretty much it's Ethereum's game. Anybody who's been telling me like, oh, I don't know, Ethereum, there's an Ethereum killer. We make a joke on Mind Your Biz, right? There hasn't been a real credible Ethereum killer since probably 2017, right? That's the last time we had the irrational exuberance to believe that anything could kill Ethereum. In 2018, as more tokens were launched, in 2019 and 2020, as a lot more NFT platforms were launched, it just became apparent that there would be this divergence in the market where there was Ethereum and everything else. And it's just pretty much obvious now. It's definitely Ethereum and everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, like this is where for me, like, I talk about Cosmos being a great ecosystem, and I think it is. Where it's not measured, I think, correctly is that it tries to measure, say, Ethereum versus just osmosis, which is one side of the Cosmos ecosystem. Mm-hmm. And so we can just look at the Cosmos ecosystem itself, which would combine a couple of these networks, Chronos and the others here. It's still less than 10% total, right, of the overall total value locked across all chains. But this is a more full picture of the Cosmos ecosystem, right? Kronos kind of takes the largest slice of that pie. Then Kava, right? Huge shout out to the Kava team. They did great work, but right alongside that is Osmosis, Thorchain, which is meant to be a cross network decentralized exchange, does some pretty cool things, does some pretty amazing things, and then all the rest. Kanto, Terra 2, I can't believe they're still alive. About $39 million locked on that one. Juno, Terra Classic, still inexplicably with millions of dollars, about a 9-figure TVL figure. Crescent, and then the others, right, at $10 million. So if we want to try to see what the others are, we have to see anything that's below Crescent. Evmos is a pretty heavy hitter here, right? People don't really understand, but it's a bridge between the Ethereum virtual machine and Cosmos. So EVM MOS. Secret network, which is private by default. Kind of cool. So everything you do on Secret Network remains a secret. Yeah, you got it. They're so witty. Kujira, Carbon, Sif Chain, which they really meant well. I don't know how they're going to do in the long run. And they've got really great artwork. It's kind of cool. It's all Lady Sif, right, from Norse mythology. It's kind of cool. Their artwork is really nice. Actually, their characterization of Lady Sif, Mrs. Mind Your Biz, looks a lot like you. I saw it and was like, oh my gosh, you guys, like, how'd you get pictures of my wife, and why is she your mascot? It was pretty cool. Anyway, so
I thought she was a brunette.
She totally isn't in. Oh my gosh. How do you know these things? Is this like canonical? Is this like the Norse mythology? Is that Lady Sif is definitely brunette?
I don't know.
Okay. I think maybe
she's Norse. She should be blonde, huh?
That's probably right. Yeah.
All blonde? I don't know.
Yeah, probably maybe.
Comics have ruined my perspective.
They can't. Comic movies have ruined everyone's perspective.
This is true.
That's the thing, right? Comic movies are like simultaneously the most enjoyable thing about modern life, which is the most terrifying thing about modern life. Is that would be the most, like, those would be the tentpole films, and all the media we all care about is like, oh, cool, another comic book movie came out.
Yeah,
like,
I think that's shifting. Actually, I think we're turning a corner there.
Good grief, I hope so.
No, if Maverick, the Top Gun movie is any indication, that movie was insanely successful.
Yeah, right.
Because people were just like, oh, something new.
Yeah, here's the thing: people like real life. We've always had our gladiators. We've always had our fierce leaders, right? Our strong leaders, and that hasn't changed, right? We're still going to worship strength no matter what. But I would rather that it not be some supernatural concept of a comic book hero that had to be bitten by something radioactive or dropped into a vat of something toxic in order to have achieved superpowers. I would rather have it be, like, if we can, have a blend, like you're saying, of people who are kind of like typical normal people. Like, I'm more of a Batman guy than a Superman guy. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Right. I like real people that can do extraordinary things.
But circling all of that back to make it, about me, I really want to see this picture now of their Lady Sif.
I know. I got to show you. Let's see what we got. We'll take a look at the protocol here. Why don't they just have a friggin' link to the site? There we go. Okay. So here. Welcome to the Omni-chain Sif chain. What? That's funny. Powered by Akash. By Red Starling, Consensus 1. That's kind of cool. So they've got one that is decentrally hosted on the Akash network. Let's see if they have it properly branded. It looks like we would need to sign in with Kepler Wallet, and like they have, guys, tenacious here. It's good. It's good, but also no. Stop. Okay, we're going to take a look at their Twitter instead. And on their Twitter, what do they got here? Oh, man. They got a lot of their artwork that... Stop. There we go. Stop. Hey, what's going on here? Their artwork was so great, and they've kind of scaled it back. Well, we're going to have to take a look at this for another time, Mind Your Biz community. I'm sorry. I managed to really pique everybody's interest, including Mrs. Mind Your Biz, and be unable to find their artwork now. Wah.
That's okay.
Sorry about that. But you're just going to have to take my word for it. If you do see the original artwork for Sif Chain, it looks an awful lot like Mrs. Mind Your Biz. And I was absolutely tickled by that. When I found it, I'm like, how did this happen? Anyway, I'm flattered. You should be flattered. I'll show you later on so you can be properly flattered. But yeah, this is the Cosmos ecosystem, and I think that it's important for us to know that there is a lot going on here, a lot of economic activity on this chain, and it's it is. It's not like most assume that there's whatever, right? That it doesn't have as much going on as it should. Ethereum still wins, right? In terms of like the overall market cap, the overall total value locked, it wins every day. And so they're not killing Ethereum. The point is they're doing quite well on their own and on their own terms. The overall value locked here, I wish that they had just kind of a better summary of the overall value locked across all of these, because that would be awesome. Because of this whole like if they could just show the Cosmos ecosystem, right, compared to the EVM. I wish there were a breakdown of that, right, where it's like you just compared the parachain networks to the rollups to the EVMs and Cosmos. If we just had these four compared to each other in their own individual pie slices, that would be very, very helpful. So if anybody has input at DeFi Llama, maybe I'll put in a pull request on their GitHub. All this information, by the way, is open source. It's contributed by the community.
Beautiful.
It's pretty great. Yeah, like that's how blockchain is, though. The information is freely available if you're a programmer, right? And you can figure out how to make a graph or whatever. But yeah, parachains as well. We've got quite a bit going on there with Akala. They're kind of neck and neck with Parallel Network. Then Moon River and Moonbeam are close third and fourth. I don't have as much faith in the Polkadot ecosystem as I do in the Cosmos ecosystem. I think they're building, and it's obvious that they're building, but I think that the Cosmos ecosystem, it's clear that they're building faster. Yeah, so hopefully we see a little bit more coming out of the Cosmos ecosystem during this bear market. All right, map of zones, another tool that you should be aware of if you're interested in the Cosmos ecosystem. This is a way that you can see a stacked ranking of all of these projects and see sort of a visual graph of how they interact and where the majority of them are connected by way of transfers that happen. One of the big tricks that the Cosmos ecosystem has up its sleeve, or ACES it has up its sleeve, is that all of these projects can transfer to all of these other projects, all these other networks. So unlike tokens on Ethereum, where they're all like minted on Ethereum in order to run on Ethereum, and then they have to be bridged to other networks. Within the Cosmos ecosystem, these are all both networks, like app-specific chains and networks, and the tokens that they run are designed to be swapped seamlessly, like so one for one between one network to another. Now, Osmosis, because it's a decentralized exchange, pretty much everybody is pushing to have compatibility with that network. There are a couple of clearly there are some there are some meme networks here too that interact with each other, and I'm not sure why they don't connect as well as they should. Again, shout out to the Persistence team. A lot of the code that's being used by these other networks was innovated by the Persistence team, so credit where it's due. And then same with Kava Network. They were one of the early multi-chain projects. But Cosmos Hub is the protocol that powers all this. That's why it connects to so many. And then Osmosis, it's that DEX, right? It's that decentralized exchange. So everybody wants to be able to work with, Osmosis. See those little transfers, inbound and outbound from Osmosis. And you can kind of see that, there's a volume in and a volume out figure that has to do with how people are trading on the Osmosis DEX, and then how they're trading their profits out back to those coin networks. So, if you're interested in the Cosmos ecosystem, I know I'm kind of like dragging this explanation out, but you need to know this tool, right? That's what I'm saying to the Mind Your Biz community right now. And if you like the way the lighting setup is on today's show, I much prefer this lighting to how we've had it for a while. This is kind of like studio style lighting. It's just better when you got multiple
little stars.
Little, yeah, right.
Lost your cosmic
little bubbles,
giant planet, or
Yeah, but I like using
a night full of stars.
Yeah, right. I think I prefer to have the set this way. But you tell me in the comments, chat, is this better, worse? Let me know. I think the lighting shapes a little bit better. So That's Map of Zones. You need to know about this. What to Mine is the tool that we use to figure out our GPU mining profitability. We're going to go into dark mode. We have to, and I'm going to go ahead and set this at 8 cents per kilowatt hour. I think this is the most reasonable amount that you should spend on your mining, on your mining costs, your electricity costs for GPUs. And you can find this price if you look for it carefully enough anywhere in the United States. The RTX 4090 is out and it's profitable. And it's the only thing that's profitable. Shout out to Serpent X Tech, who did some phenomenal benchmarking tests on the RTX 4090 and who, if I'm not mistaken, has his RTX 4090, the one he used for that testing and only for that testing, available on eBay right now. So I think that it's just nearing the last bit of that auction. Go check it out. If you want to see something that has minimal use and you're interested in an RTX 4090, check that out. I can tell you just by doing a little bit of market research that the current price is not $1,500. This is one price that, unfortunately, What to Mind has totally flubbed. That's just not accurate at all. Not even close. So, yeah, $1,500 is not what you're going to pay if you're looking to mine on the 4090 or use the 4090. You're going to be looking at closer to $2,000, possibly even over $2,000 to actually get your hands on an RTX 4090. They're just really expensive. And it has nothing to do with miners trying to snap up pallet loads of this GPU. That's not what happened last time either. So to set the record straight, this is scalpers. These are people using bots to automatically purchase these items when they first hit the market and then go flip them for a profit. Can you blame them? It's just good business, right? If you know there's a market, you go try to get the alpha out of that market. And so these with these bots and these flippers, there's really no beating them. Unfortunately, you see the break-even point at that price even is over 5,000 days. You wouldn't get this GPU for mining today. If there is a way to get it at a lower price, you might get it just for any other purpose. And if you're looking forward to some future where you're going to mine on them, like I wouldn't. Geez, right now I wouldn't. Here's Mind Your Business top pick. When we look at the price breakdown here, we're looking at some of the, if you're looking at the 3000 series at all, you're looking at something that is lower spec 3000 series, something along the lines of the 3070 or the 3060, right? Not the LHR, but the 3060 Ti is still one of the best options out there. And at $400 or less, right? If you can find it used at under $400, that's one of those sweet spots. Now, they don't show the break-even number of days on this, which is just weird. Again, like, way to like drop the ball when it's most needed. Like Butterfingers here, Butterfingers there. But the 3060 Ti is a phenomenal value for the money. Some people would argue that you should get into the workstation class cards. The RTX A4500 is a really great card in terms of some of its performance characteristics, but the price is not awesome yet. Workstation cards do tend to hold their value more for longer periods of time, and I've said that for years, and that's true now. If you bought this when it first came out, you're probably still getting the same price for it, because it's a workstation class card. You're going to find people who do, visual effects and animation and filmmaking, or just any kind of other like CAD or graphics like Photoshop that are going to want to get that card. And so the resale value has stayed way high. And Mrs. Mind Your Biz, we did that 4 years ago, right? So that's still, in my mind, a sound business approach if you're looking at it that way, holding on to those assets and having your capex be something you can recover later on. So yeah, the RTX A series cards, not a bad option for that reason, but you might get them at a discount now. Maybe, unfortunately, I think the best possible time to do that was when they first launched. A lot of people are doing okay on that resale, but I think the RTX 3060 or anything from the 2000 series is still going to be possibly a better place to start now. The 10,000 series, right, or the 1000 series from NVIDIA, probably not going to come back in the same way. And unfortunately, the pricing is such that, $4,000 for a GTX 1080, not going to be the same value by way of efficiency as the 3060 will be. So again, now I'm just talking about GPUs that I'm boring you to death. I apologize, Mrs. Mind Your Biz. So these are just this part of the 360-degree view that we do on the Mind Your Biz live stream show. And I'm trying to make up for lost time because we did not stream on Tuesday, and I apologize for that, Mind Your Biz fam. So yeah, but yeah, anything ending in a 60 is going to be a far better option. Even the 1660 Ti, right? At just over $200, if you can find it for under $200 used, phenomenal buy right now. Like I wouldn't necessarily say that you should go out and get these. The point is, if it ends in a 60 from NVIDIA, it's going to be a higher efficiency card. The RTX 2060 or the 2060 Super, great value right now. And it's going to come back as an efficiency king in the next bull run. Mark my words. I said it. I've been saying it for 4 years. And there are people who said, oh, well, I really want to get the top of the line because it's going to be the highest performer. And, there's some value in that approach. But when we start to see the times get lean, the efficiency matters again with these GPUs. And it becomes the only thing that matters. So you're welcome, Mind Your Biz community. I'm not publishing any more spreadsheets on this because I got tired of doing that 4 years ago when people stopped listening, right? Or saying, you're wrong. Good luck with that. If you thought I was wrong, you found out better. But yeah. Bottom of the list, though, anything, like the older 1000 series cards that are at the bottom of this list, right? That older R9, no, clearly stay away. It's not valuable at any price. The 1050 Ti, not valuable at any price. Certainly not at nearing $200. You can do far better with anything ending in a 60 that is a 2000 series or better, right? That's what I'm going to say now. At this point moving forward, if you think you're going to get back involved in GPU mining for the next bull run, do not bother with that old generation of cards. It's finally time to let it go. And I'm finally willing to admit that. Finally time to let it go. It may return to some profitability, but you will have slightly higher performance per watt with those newer cards. And so you need that performance advantage for sure, even with the efficiency. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Let's take a quick look at our portfolios. We will not spend long here. We're going to look at our GPU mining portfolio and our Ethereum replacements. We're not going to look at much else today. So yeah, taking a look at the GPU mining portfolio, Flux is still in the money as a long-term hold. And just shout out to Daniel Keller, who will also be in Miami for the Decentral Conference. So if you want to see that, there's a strong possibility that you may see Daniel Keller and a GPU mining content creator on the same panel. It should be fun times. I think it should be really fun times in Miami. So Daniel Keller, can't wait to see your lovely face out in Miami. We're going to have a ton of fun. Speaking of ton token is in the second place. But yeah, for the Telegram, sorry, not the Telegram token, the other ton token, it gets really confusing. I know. But the GPU mineable ton token, it's only down 9% or 10% since we created our entry in this portfolio. But Flux token, still in the green since we created this portfolio, and by hundreds of percentage points at that. So multiples of what you initially invested when we first made this entry back in May of 2021. So it's, doing pretty darn good. But yeah, we've got a significant amount of historical data now to show that some of these have performed very well and some of these have just tanked in that time. Haven is the one that has been the biggest loser. Unfortunately, we're well below the 50-cent mark at this point. And it's looking dire. 96% down. If you believe in their mission, this might be the time to speculatively start to DCA, but I would still say it's correlated enough to Bitcoin that you should just wait for bottom support with Bitcoin before you try to do so with Haven. Just not worth it under any other circumstance. Kaspa also doing phenomenally well. We don't have entries into Kaspa or Nyaxa or Gemlink just yet, or ETHW. We could add those right now, and the way that we would do that, let me just show you. Ethereum W, the only way we could do that is at its genesis point. We'd have to basically take a position as to when it initially started, right? So look at the maximum time frame and go all the way back to the time of its first trading, right? So the 23rd of August, right, at $43.21. So that's when we could make an entry and go back. The 23rd of August, double check that right here, 23rd of August at 2200 hours. All right, okay, so, and that just means PM So 2,200 hours, we'll call that approximately the right time. So 2,200 hours. And we're going to figure out at that acquisition price of $43.21 how many that could have been. So 43.21, right? Is that right? 21? That's hilarious. 4321. That's just precious. Okay. Now I'm going to bust out a calculator, as we do. And you can't see this because it's off screen, but I'm going to divide $1,000 by 43.21. So we figure out how many we get. And it's not as tidy as I'd like it to be, but that's the amount. That helps us spend exactly $1,000 on this entry. And by getting just a little over 23 of these coins, that's $1,000 in fiat currency. We'll add that as a buy order that is now in our portfolio. And now when we move up the list, we can see how it's performed in our portfolio context. And it's down 85%, right? Since we made that entry. So we're going to do that for a couple others here as well. Just really fast. We need to get this out of the way because we need to see how our GPU mining portfolio has performed. So I'm going to open up new tabs with all of these and create an entry for Kaspa. Right, Kaspa, we need to go back in time again to its maximum time frame because, let's see. Yeah, because it doesn't go back quite as far as our other coins. So this is kind of a false metric because we're going to be able to see it from its very initial starting point. And that's going to be, this is going to give us a false positive for showing upside. But 0.0002 is going to be our entry point. And we'll take $1,000 and divide it by 0.0002. So basically 5 million coins. That's not realistic. Let's see what the current, we need to see some of the other fundamentals because right now the circulating supply is 14 billion. That's not, okay, so it's not impossible to have acquired 5 million of these coins of the Kaspa coins. So I feel a little better about that. But the point is now we have to put 0.2. There's exactly $1,000. And we need to figure out when that happened. So that's the launch date. So if you were doing day 0 mining, it would have been the 24th of May at 1,800 hours. All right. So let's go ahead and jump back in time. May 24th? 24th. All right, 24th at 1,800 hours, which is 6 p.m. All right, we got it right. We're doing it right, right?
Good job.
Thank you. I was so worried. Here's the point. That's going to make it look like Kaspa was wildly successful, but how many of y'all were able to mine Kaspa on day 0? Or acquire that many Kaspa on day 0? 5 million coins on day 0.
I'm thinking none.
Right? Unrealistic. The point is, that's kind of what we have to do on the launch. We should probably start doing a dollar cost average of those across multiple days. So instead of it being, $1,000 that we were able to get in one day on day 1, do it a different way. But the point is, so it's a flawed methodology, but it's some kind of a methodology to show us profitability over time, right? So it's something. Now you see this, right? Mind Your Biz community, you understand why we're doing what we're doing. So, all right, moving on. We're going to quickly get through the other entries here. Let's add something for Neoxa, which again is a new coin that launched, and we have to go back to the maximum time frame. So jump back in time, like just in August. Right, so the 24th of August at 6 a.m. we'll say is our acquisition time, and launching at 00146. We'll just use those first few numbers there. So 00, oh, look at that, 00146. So we will show profitability, definitely will show profitability. There's no way we can't show profitability. And clear that out. $1,000 divided by 00146. And that would be just a little over 684,000 tokens that we would have needed to acquire. And Latrell is saying in the chat, understood. Thank you for understanding. And we've mentioned this, I've mentioned this on previous episodes where we've had to do these entries, that when we're looking at a brand new token launch, it is an imperfect methodology because we're trying to figure out what the correct, strategic acquisition point would have been. Like mining would have showed us a dollar cost average across several days. If you were mining even on day 0, you would have likely mined for a few days up to a week. So probably a better way to demonstrate this. But I'm being lazy. So $1,000 all dumped in day 0. Let's go. All right. So $1,000 here. And let's figure out exactly, again, August 24th at 6 a.m. or 600 hours. August 24th. $600 hours. Submit. And that too will be in our top 3. See that? Just behind Flux, actually, because it's still up by a tiny bit, but not by much. So that's kind of sobering right there to see that at the beginning of its life cycle, the lowest possible point, you're only barely above what its value was then. It's been slowly hemorrhaging as the markets have crabbed sideways, right? Since its initial listing pump. I mean, I think your happiest time with this token was, sometime on September 4th, right? There was a peak on September 4th. Between September 4th and 5th, you had opportunities to sell everything at the at its top. Let's kind of zoom in on that and see, what that peak looked like. So there you go, September 4th at 3 p.m., right? At 3 p.m. UTC, you had the opportunity to sell at 2.4 cents. So killer returns there if you had a chance to do that. What is that, 20x returns? Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Not bad for a couple days' work if you're mining. Unrealistic, though. So let's take a look at Gemlink as well. So we've got everything added in that can be added in. Gemlink, in my opinion, is looking highly manipulated on that chart. I do not trust that chart one bit. On the 7-day, that's a very strange curve, right? Because it's not a curve at all. It's a giant mesa and giant valleys there. That looks almost like manipulation. Look at the volume curves there as well. That looks algorithmic down there on the volume curves. So without accusing anybody of anything, to see that the daily trading volume is at, the hourly trading volume is at $800 and then down to $20, then back down to $60 and then back up to hundreds again. That's weird. I mean, somebody gut check me here. That look normal?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But we're going to add it anyway because there has been a call from the community to add this coin. So let's jump back in time. Earliest acquisition point would have been 13th of March, 1,800 hours. And what's our price here? 0.0217 cents. So we're going to do it again on the calculator. $1,000 divided by 0.0217? 17?
One
17. All right, 17 cents. And a little over 46,000 of those tokens. Get that a little more precise there. And, oh man, this one's down bad. This one's down very bad. Okay, again.
March
14th. Okay. So March 14th,